Hi everyone, welcome back to the Celts Are Here podcast. It's Declan joined by Quinny. It is the afternoon after the afternoon before. I think, like most Celtic fans, everybody's a bit tender this afternoon, whatever, probably this evening when this goes out, or even tomorrow, maybe still some hangovers if you end up running into the old Sunday or Monday clubs. But yeah, Quinny, absolutely phenomenal day. I can't say I expected Celtic to win the game 4-0. I maybe expected Celtic to win the game, but I think that performance and everything about it just blew everything and blew everybody away.
That was quality, man. Someday out. 4-0 was actually my score prediction, so I'm quite buzzing about that. But it was some game, and I've been I think it's maybe my fifth Old Firm or something like that. And by far and away, it was definitely the best one I've been to, certainly in person. So it was a great day, and yeah, I'm very much suffering for it now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're right too. To be honest, I think in the scoreline first to reflect on it, I thought maybe the days of Celtic giving Rangers an absolute doing might have been, gone. I think that's the first time since 2018 that Celtic's taken probably 4 goals off Rangers. If you think back to that Scottish Cup semi-final, the one that
Yeah.
Dembele does the Pineka in the game, I think that was probably the last time. So I thought those days were gone, but not at all. Celtic just absolutely ran over the top of Rangers yesterday, and it was an annihilation job.
Aye, totally. And we were talking about in the build up to the game. Like, I was trying to keep myself kind of conservative on predictions because, the amount of times you go into an Old Firm thinking, oh, it's going to be 4 or 5 or something, ends up 1 or 2. But I just didn't see, like, the way Rangers, like, especially the way they played yesterday as well, but like they're only kind of dealing in errors and mistakes, and our team just doesn't make them. We don't give them a chance to breathe or organise, and I'm sure we'll come into the goals, but the goals is just, it's straight off the textbook of keep the tempo high, keep them on the back foot, don't give them a second to think, breathe, or look anywhere. you know.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. And I think people have been saying that if you look into Ange's comments before games, if you look into players' comments before games and afterwards, everything they say translates into what we do in the football pitch. Everything that we're going to do, it's almost predictable. But back to that comment that he says, people don't pay attention. I don't think Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and other managers have been paying attention, Quinny, because Joe Hart talked about Celtic teams keeping their focus, and if they keep their focus, they'll do well. They'll continue to win games. We do that, and everything that Ange says. If you go back to that first kind of real insight into his coaching, we never stop. If the opposition want to take breaks in the game, that's what happened yesterday. We punished Rangers for it. And as I say, everything I think that he's said in the press, ever since he arrived at Celtic, comes to fruition on the park yesterday and really typifies an Ange Postecoglou Celtic performance.
yeah, and the first half especially, like, it was a really good tempo to it, and obviously we got the 3 goals in it. And when the lineup came out, thinking about Ange Ball and all the rest of it, I didn't see a bad starting yesterday. I just didn't see how he would have went for it, but he did, and it was a bloody masterstroke because he just finds himself in the right place, and he's like, see his, I think it's the second goal, the one he nutmegs the keeper. Like, what a clean hit! It just comes across. He doesn't even think twice. He's just laser focused, gets himself in that right spot, and makes his chances count. So Abada was a real kind of Ange Ball hero yesterday, as much as maybe myself and maybe a few other people don't really think he's maybe the best of the bunch we have to carry out that job. They definitely showed it.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, myself included, have looked at, Daisameda's role in terms of the system and what he gives you to the system. You see that when he comes on yesterday. And even, towards the end of the game in Ross County, he's one of these people that literally doesn't stop running. He's always going to press defenders and whatnot. But Abada, in terms of Borna Barisic, I think Borna Barisic is probably going to be having nightmares if he hadn't been already after the game in February about this young man. And Quinny, his Celtic stats are absolutely phenomenal for somebody his age, and it's quite incredible to think that he's still at a point where he's going to develop even further, Leila Bada, and he's going to be a top player. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I didn't maybe see that coming. I think he started up in Dingwall in midweek. I thought he's just maybe giving him that game, but he came into it off the back of a good performance on Wednesday night. Obviously, the hat trick last weekend at Tannadice, and he absolutely tortured Borna Barisic as he bombed on that right hand side, Leila Bada.
Yeah, they didn't have any answers for any of our players, really, and we were all a wee bit worried, or maybe I don't know about worried, but we were all thinking about what the ref might do in the game yesterday, and he definitely let them away with some. But I was actually kind of surprised at how he did book one or two of them in the first half, and or maybe it's been one, but I was a wee bit surprised that they did actually get booked, at all, because we were kind of going into that match expecting everything probably to go the 50-50s to go against us and that kind of stuff. And I don't think that, we took the game out of the control of everyone, and that's the edge ball we were kind of talking about last week. Is like, if you get a goal in the first 10-20 minutes, nobody can bank in against you and defend. They need to come out at some point, and then that just further plays into your hands. And the referee comes into that, even in those kind of situations. If you go and get 2 or 3 goals rapid, then the ref can book or not book whoever he wants. Still 3 goals to the good, and here we go, party time.
Yeah, absolutely. That was Barisic and I think Tillman that got booked before the
Yeah.
break. So yeah, I was probably surprised as you were, Quinny, but I didn't think it was any great performance from Nick Walsh. I thought he was
Agreed.
absolutely dreadful in the game. To me, he just completely lost control of it. He was almost like scared to book players, and he let John Lundstrom, I think, particularly be a lot when
Yep.
you need to be giving players a bit of protection. You can't expect that to be given. I don't mind games, being allowed to flow a bit, but when challenges are going in like such that we seen yesterday, I think there needs to be major questions about player safety, and we say that here. I think it's always important that if you are maybe going to mention any refereeing decisions, we're saying that off the back of a 4-0 victory here. We're not saying it to complain about a defeat.
Yeah.
We're seeing it as winners in a game. I thought his refereeing performance was very, very poor.
Yeah, we definitely had at least. I've seen the highlights, but I was at the game, so I've not seen like everyone else probably has like television coverage of all the decisions and whatever. But I definitely think we had at least one shout for a good penalty in that match that didn't go anywhere near. And
It's the one in the
Jack,
first half.
yeah, it would have been the first half. Yeah, it was the opposite. I actually seen a picture of you on Twitter this morning on my way in with whoever you went to the game with, and I must not have been too far away from you. I was in the same
No,
stand.
you must have just been along to my right hand side, I think, at the game.
Aye, so yeah, it was the opposite end from where I was at. So I'd have been the first half. I'm pretty sure it looked like a pretty solid chop down. And Giakoumakis, he got booked right at the end of the game for going nuts at the ref, because it's like, how are you letting? I think Lundstrom broke down a counter attack in like the 90th minute or something, and Giakoumakis just went absolutely bonkers at the ref, and because he was letting them away with, even though, as I was saying, like I was quite surprised those kind of token bookings, if you like, came out early in the match. The big decision is like,
especially to Barisic, because that's always going to be a danger when one of your defenders gets booked, as it was, I think, for Celtic when Vickers got booked.
Yeah. But it, in terms of the big decisions, it kind of felt like to me with some of those ones that he'd been seeing all this stuff on the internet all week, and he's thinking, crap, I better not give them any ammo to, come back at me at saying I was biased or whatever. So I think he just tried to keep himself out the game, unfortunately, for the health and safety of the players, but a lot left to be desired for sure.
Yeah, quite incredibly, John Lundstrom actually managed to escape yesterday's game without being booked. I just had a look back there. Never get booked in a game. Connor Golson obviously got that booking towards the end of the game for a horrendous chop down. I think it was in Dyson Maeda, which but it was around that situation.
Oh, it was awful, by the way.
Went mental. Really, really poor. No intent to play the ball. And I think that was the closest that Rangers players were ever going to get to Celtic players, was just sticking the boot in because they didn't really have an answer. But going back to what you've mentioned, Giakoumakis there, I think that's an important place to start. I can't say I wasn't worried when Kyogo went down and went off, because obviously you head into that game, you have your game plan, but we know how integral a player he has been to Celtic since arriving at the club, how good he's been coming back into the fold this season. He's been scoring for fun, obviously. Hat-trick last week. I think it was 6 goals and 5 appearances or something going into this game. And when he goes down and goes off, Quinny, absolutely trust Georgie Giakoumakis to come on it and do the job. I thought he bullied Connor Goldson again, just with his physical presence. But there was a slight concern for me when Kyogo went off. What was your thoughts on that? I think that was more around me thinking, our game plan might just be up in the air here about how we maybe approach this now.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think anyone was worried when Giakoumakis came on, because he is, it could be in another season or, season gone or season in the future. He could be our main guy, because that's the kind of level he's shown so far. But I did feel like for the majority of the match, we were really missing that, for lack of a better term, that Japanese press, from a Maeda or a Kyogo. We had none of them on the pitch. And I was giving Giakoumakis it tight when he was shooting towards us, because I just felt like he was giving them far too much room to, like what I was saying earlier, pick their head up and make a pass. And, the Turnbull one, the goal we got by that was also quite funny, because it's, maybe they've been lured into a false sense of security. But I felt after maybe like the 60th, 70th minute, I thought Giakoumakis really needs to keep, he really needs to put a bit more pressure on the back two, because that's the thing that has really helped us maintain pressure through the match, is that teams don't really get a great opportunity to progress the ball and to build up play. And Rangers I think I'm right in saying this, I've seen this after the game, that Rangers actually had more possession. And a huge part of that is down to Giakoumakis letting the back four basically have the ball when he didn't have the energy to chase them down. It's not because he was tired or anything necessarily, but as we just know, everyone's just got different levels of, speed and ground they can cover and whatever. So that kind of concerned me as the match went through, where we weren't going to like put huge numbers on the scoreboard, but he came close with a good couple of set pieces. We've put balls into the box for him, and he was maybe a whisker away from it. And that's kind of what you really need at a Giakoumakis, is to be almost like a Bada, that fox in the box.
Yeah, Abada certainly was the fox in the box, and maybe just as well, because with Keo going off, we're going to need somebody to step up and make his mark. And I've spoken, I think that the terminology that's been dubbed with Abada is the ghost at the back post. But his goals yesterday actually came, certainly the first goal comes quite centrally, and as positional sense to get in there, great intelligence to be there. But I think if probably, from a Rangers perspective, they're going to have a look at the goalie with that. But take nothing away. Again, it's Celtic being quick off the mark to try and go and get the goal. And Dabada's the right man at the right time. And he puts some power in the ball too to make sure it goes past McLaughlin.
Yeah, I can't praise Abada enough. I've don't get me wrong, I've always been a fan of Abada, but I just always thought in this kind of Ange Ball situation that he's probably his second choice behind Maeda or somebody else. But the form is just continuing to go and go and go, and the manager's getting more and more headaches for the better, which is fantastic. With our key guy injured,
Yeah,
doesn't really not really
could
worry.
say that key guy injured. Looking just quickly towards Tuesday with that, I don't expect Hugo to probably be available now for Tuesday. I don't think he's been assessed yet. Hopefully, it's not too long, but it's really bad luck for him, because I'm sure he would have been, like every player within that Celtic camp buzzing to play Real Madrid, and it's a bit of a sore one for him. But as you say, Giakoumakis is an able deputy to Kyogo, if you want to call him his deputy. I'd still say that Kyogo would always be my probably first pick for centre forward. But I think looking towards that game against Real Madrid, which you don't want to kind of spend too much time looking towards, he's going to probably need to put in that wee extra bit that you were saying, Quinny, there, that was maybe missing yesterday. Although it was a good performance, I've spoken about his physicality, giving Connor Goldson a real hard time of it. But
Yep.
he's going to be a completely different animal in Real Madrid in Tuesday evening.
Aye, for sure. And again, that was, I'm kind of thinking ahead when I'm watching the game to that. I'm thinking, if you don't, whoever they play at centre back, whether it's, Rudiger, Militao, or, whoever, if you give them any time, they're going to find quality players in midfield. We can't allow that. The Rangers didn't really have much quality in midfield, truth be told, yesterday, between the boys that started and the subs that came on. I didn't really, honestly, I don't think any of them put any distinctive performance in where I was like, oh, yeah, that guy was good for 2 minutes, or oh, that guy was actually giving us a bit of bother once or twice. It just, they were all like no names, so we can kind of get away with letting that back four find their midfield a bit more, because once they got in there, they had nowhere to go, where we're just rushing them, turning the ball over quickly, and then putting them back in their own half. But against better opposition, these guys kind of get time and space, because every player that they can find is top quality.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be a different taste for whatever wingers I'd probably imagine going off the back of that performance is definitely going to be Jota and Abada probably to face Real Madrid, and yeah, you're going to be out against top quality fullbacks too. So again, it's about that collective effort that I think that the manager looks for from his attacking players to go and
Would
go
you
and win
say
the ball back.
Would you say you've seen enough from Giakoumakis today to say you would start him against Real Madrid over, let's say, Maeda?
Yeah, I think so. Just in terms of, I remember Maida coming into the team, first initially as the winger, and I know he played through the middle, kind of at the start. I think he got his goal from centre forward against Hibs after the turn of the year. And I remember that game up at Pretoria when we won 3-2, and I thought, I don't know if it's just, whether it's the teams that were playing in the physicality, the league is just kind of getting up to speed with it. Much like Kyogo, Maeda will get in behind defences and he'll open them up. But yeah, I think just in terms of probably what you get and what you get, I'd probably go with Giakoumakis against Real Madrid. And again, the good thing is he's played Champions League football too, which I think is also going to be important. And as you say, you might even look to use that physicality against Real Madrid a wee bit too, because he's a big, powerful
Yeah,
centre forward, and
sure.
I think he could give them a bit of tough time. But again, I always say, Quinny, Ange Postecoglou knows best. He knew best yesterday. I probably wouldn't have started Lila Bada again. I don't watch him every day in training. He's obviously seen something that he thought, I'm going to stick him in for this one. And he proved dividends to him. So, yeah, it's an interesting one, but I think he will probably go for Jacko against Real Madrid. What is your thoughts on that one between Jacko and Dyson?
I thought I'd probably go for Dyson on Tuesday and then, play the kind of normal way we have been playing. But Dyson Maeda can easily kind of doppelgang for Kyogo. And then once you get to the 60th, 70th minute, maybe Jacko comes on and is the battering ram through the door. But yeah, I'm sure we'll have plenty. I'm really bad for running away in at different strands and stuff like that, Declan. I'm sorry, but that was just the main thing I kind of thought from Giakoumakis is I don't think we'll get away with this on Tuesday, And without the goal, he was close a few times, with some corners and set pieces and whatever. Without the goal, I don't know. I think he would I think Giakoumakis would be quite disappointed with his performance in that respect, because you can see it from all the forward players. They just all want to be involved in goals and assists together. In any game where any of them doesn't, you can tell that they feel that they're behind. They're behind the eight ball. If you like, they're behind the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all very, very hungry to get in there and play their part. But yeah, I probably would have been disappointed that he didn't get on the score sheet. I mean, especially thinking back to that game in February, he deserved a goal that night because he was absolutely superb that night. And he probably thinking to himself yesterday, good couple of chances, especially when you're 3-0 up at half time. You're maybe thinking, we'll go on and get that fourth and fifth goal. But unfortunately, we didn't. But if that's all you're complaining about after a 4-0 derby victory, it's not too bad a Monty to have. The second goal, though, my pick of the goals, Quinny, absolutely phenomenal. The ball first from O'Reilly is sensational.
Yeah,
The intelligence and just to pick out that, and again, Jota knows exactly where he's going to put that and wants to make sure he's onto the ball, but the finish is absolutely sublime.
that's lovely.
um it's just you can't teach that. That's just pure quality and skill, just to lob it off over McLaughlin, and really at 2-0 I thought, game over.
Yeah. I think that's probably I've not seen O'Reilly in person that often, but it's definitely the best performance I've seen him play in person. And this is going to sound ludicrous, right? But see on the pitch, especially that ball for the second goal, I'm just like, man, this guy's a wee mini De Bruyne waiting to happen. He's got that presence in the middle of the pitch that you really see in a big match like that, where no matter where he goes, the whole team's confident to put him on the ball. He's always confident to take the touch, protect the ball,
Always
and
shown. He's always shown for the ball, O'Reilly. I love that.
yeah. And the pass for the second goal, that's Kevin De Bruyne, man. Like some players can see passes like that. And, it's obviously high praise I'm giving him. But that's what when I was watching the highlights back, I was like, man, you put this guy up a level and he'll keep doing that because these skills, these attributes are like playing a pass like that, right? If you can play a pass like that in, let's say, the lowest region of football, you can actually see it. That's the skill. It's not all, obviously completing it is the biggest part of it, but so many players don't even see that, and that's the difference for me for some of the guys that will kick on and be like huge players. And like O'Reilly for me, like honestly, that was just my main thoughts when I was watching the stuff back this morning on the way in, and when I was at the game last night, seeing his stature and composure on the ball and everything was just, this guy is going to that kind of mold, of being the big, powerful playmaker.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that can go at the very top of football too. And again, alongside him, I think he's going to be the man that's given the most praise in there for obviously 2 assists in the game. But Rio Hitati and Callum McGregor also top performances. And again, probably maybe ask a question. We've obviously brought in Abelgard, who we've been spoken, I think, about when we last did the pod. We've brought him in now. But Celtic, we've spoken about this kind of tough, midfielder who'll break up plays in number 6. Celtic are very aggressive, I thought, in midfield yesterday, Quinn. If you play like that against any teams, you're not going to have too many problems.
No, totally. And I think we kind of get good in being aggressive in midfield with the fullbacks as well. So maybe, and again, like we were kind of speculating last week, maybe this Abelgard maybe offers us different dimensions to play in, different ways to line up and different ways to build and whatever. So it was good to see him getting paraded at half time and whatever. And I think he'll definitely add into that because the manager's comments about none of them getting on a ride in Disney World until this guy showed up kind of tells you something that he is thinking about. There will be days where we need big physical guys like through the spine of the pitch, from Carter Vickers to Giakoumakis and everything in between. So I think that's a really interesting one that could maybe foil well with O'Reilly. And then you've got the likes of McGregor and Hatate that have the added pace that can maybe travel you 15, 20 yards up the pitch really quickly as well. So it definitely bodes well for all the key players we've got, having that extra option in midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how much O'Reilly knows about his assist for Abada's second goal, but the finish from Abada, utter quality. As you say, he makes McLaughlin, which is very difficult to do, but he catches the ball so sweetly. And again, it's the quickness of how we move the ball from, it's over the other end of the park, right into the penalty box with, I think it's 2 or 3 passes. Just the quickness and just play. And I think that's probably Rangers' biggest problem yesterday, Quinny, was they were switched off all the time. They just weren't alert to anything that we were going to do. And we punished them for that, and rightfully so. Celtic punished them for that.
Yeah, they definitely couldn't cover the grass as quick as we did, for sure. And yeah, that whole switching on, like, it's funny when I was watching them, because like I was sitting next to some guys, obviously watch a lot of football and whatever as well, and we're talking about how long that Rangers were taking to actually cross the halfway line. Like, we would give them like a real, and this might not sound like much, right, but when you're watching football, it can be a real 20 seconds, 30 seconds of like uncontested possession. They're moving the ball left to right, looking for somebody in midfield, and everyone, it seemed like, had no idea of where to go to try and find an opportunity to attack. And so often when a team is in that position, like we've seen, when we turn the ball over quickly, they're all out of place because they've all been trying to move and, where can I buy a yard and can I get away from my marker and whatever. And because they were so like bereft of ideas, they were all kind of just make it up as they go along. And then as soon as we get the ball, we know exactly what we're doing. We know exactly what zones of the pitch we want to attack. We know exactly what areas of the pitch we want to get O'Reilly on the ball, or if we're in this area of the pitch, we're going to look for Jota or this kind of stuff. And yeah, on so many levels. Like, I was listening to a Rangers thing on Twitter this morning, and they were admitting defeat, that like, oh, we've not got as good a squad as we thought, talking about Rangers. And it's one of these things, like, I've not seen this Rangers squad being good like for like a year, but they get some jammy ass results in Europe and everything else. And it was great to see us just like not give them that minute to get a bit of luck or to get a bit of chaos in the box to get something going in their favour. And it was just relentless. Every time they lost the ball, we were turning and we were going. And yeah, they were just lost of ideas in total.
Yeah, but I think you can see that. I think there's a clip going around to Van Bronckhorst, and he can have, he puts his head down because he's obviously expected a wee bit more from his players. And even you're talking about being, bereft of ideas, Rangers, for Celtic's 4th goal. I don't know what Stephen Davis is pointing at, whether Peter Brady's signed for Rangers in the summer window, but I don't know what he's pointing at. McLaughlin makes the pass out and Turnbull's there, and it makes it 4. And, I think 4-0 was a very fair reflection of the scoreline. I think it could have been a lot more, though. And it's probably, as I say, the biggest disappointment that you're probably walking away from the game is, again, 3-0 up at half time, like we were in February, and we didn't go for the kill more. And Rangers might actually be lucky in that Kyogo did go off so early in the game, because I think maybe if he's on for 90 minutes, I think it could have been a whole different story for that scoreline.
Yeah, I'm with you all the way on that. And it's funny, I did a match day kind of vlog of the game. I was in like the number 7 restaurant and all that. It was good fun. And it'll be out on my main channel later. But it's really funny because, see, that Turnbull goal, you'll probably remember this, but the 1 minute kind of leading up to that, the whole stadium was singing Rangers are shite. And then it was a zombie song. And then and then the goalkeeper does that. It was just absolutely perfect, where all the fans are just laying into them, just giving them it tight. Old Firm, you're losing 3-0. And all the Rangers bashing, so, I say like Rangers are crap and all the rest of it, and the zombie song. And then for that goal, like, it was just so comical on so many levels. It was a nice wee kind of cherry on top of the cake. If we didn't get a goal in the second half, I think I would have been a wee bit more disappointed, because, like you say, so dominant, to have so many chances in the first half, to not, keep that going in the second half is kind of anti-Ange, So it's good that we at least got a goal in the second half, and it was, proper funny.
Yeah, even if it was from a Rangers mistake, I think that might be the last sheet you might see John McLaughlin goals for Rangers, which, is their own issue, nothing that we need to worry ourselves about. I think also in terms of standout performers, we've spoken about Jota, we've spoken about Abada, we've touched on Yakimakis. We've spoken about that midfield three. Once again, Cameron Carter-Vickers, it's just so consistent in every single level. And, all the nonsense about, Celtic haven't strengthened in the summer, they've just re-signed players. That narrative that was getting peddled at times in the press. I really think like Vickers, Maeda, Jota, they've all even taken their games to a new level in the space of a few months now that their permanent futures at Celtic are decided. And I think, Quinny, you're looking at Vickers, who again I think was an absolute standout for Celtic yesterday. He had different centre half partners. Starfelt eventually goes off in the game. Wasn't his best game in a Celtic jersey, but he still played his part. Moritz James comes on. That's Vickers played with Welsh, Starfelt, and Yent so far this season, but he's just so consistent, and he's a big reason why in 6 games in the league Celtic have 5 clean sheets.
Aye, he was an absolute powerhouse. Like, doesn't put a foot wrong, doesn't hesitate to get involved in the ball or whatever. And did not put a foot wrong as well. And it was nice to see that he get treated to a nice dinner in Blythewood Square after the match as well by by some of his pals.
Yeah. That seems to have annoyed a few people. Sitting down with your international boss is now a crime to some people. But I think just the big man deserves all the praise that he should get, because much like Callum McGregor, who has missed consistent, you're seeing that in Vickers' performances now. And it's incredibly important that your spine of your team do show those kind of performances, because it allows everybody, all those creative midfielders and hungry attackers, to go and do their business. It makes that a lot easy. And going into the game yesterday, to me, the one big danger was Kolak, just due to his form coming into the game. He's been scoring goals for Rangers. When I watched him when he was at Malmo, I always thought he was a decent enough player, the big Croatian, but he snuffed out any danger that Kolak posed to him yesterday.
Yeah, and one of the things I really one of the things I really enjoy about Carter Vickers is, like, even though we are trying to, I think he did a great job with Kolak as well, by the way, just to agree with you there. But I think one of the things I really enjoy about Carter Vickers is, even though we're like a play out from the back, modern football, inverted fullbacks, he's not shy to just shell it and get it out if we're in danger or anything. He doesn't need to, try and, do a Cruyff turn and all that kind of stuff. Like, if he smells the danger and he knows there's nowhere to go, he doesn't mess about. And I know this whole Fridge nickname comes from his size and all that, and kind of American football and whatever, but he is cool as well. He is cool, calm and collected. I don't think, I've ever seen him flustered or really make an error, like a real error. Maybe just a misstep or a missed pass or something, but it happens to everyone. But yeah, I thought he did great yesterday, just keeping up with that Kolak and making sure that anytime they dropped balls into the box, he wasn't ever alone. He didn't ever get a chance to get a striker's opportunity in the game, and it was a big part of the reason we got the clean sheet, I think.
Yeah, and really, even in the game, I can only really remember Joe Hart making one save, the one from the header that he gets down to his left hand side with. That's the only real chance I think Rangers actually got in the game and tested Celtic. A couple of balls in, over the face that were maybe a bit wanton with, but defensively Celtic yesterday very, very sound. They snuffed out any danger that Rangers posed. I read a wee bit in the press this morning, somebody saying that Joe Hart got saved by the whistle, the one that Arfield blitters the ball over the crossbar. Even if the whistle had it, when he'd blittered the ball over the crossbar. And the actual ruling over that is that all opposition players must be at the box when a goal kick's taken. So, it's not that the referee was saving him. Joe Hart, as per usual, was trying to be quick yesterday. And, Scott Arfield's not outside the box. And it might have been a McLaughlin-esque goal had he maybe stuck it away, but if he was outside the box, but he clearly inside the box. So
yeah, Miles.
goals.
Joe Hart was raging that he touched it as well. Joe Hart's like, should be getting booked for that,
Yeah, no, absolutely. There was one as well with a free kick with that he's, I think it was Tillman, he blocks the ball for no reason. A player who would go on to get booked. So, you look at decisions like that, and there needs to be consistency with it, because the rules are the rules, and those are very easy ones to interpret if you're doing something that you shouldn't. Just in terms of that quickness and the speed of the ball getting out there. I see Alan McCoy is moaning about the quickness of Celtic's ball boys, but it really was a collective effort yesterday, and you could see that by just how quickly the ball was going back. And I think it's the first goal, it's either the first or the third goal that we get. Ball's given right away, throw-ins taken very quickly, the ball ends up in the back of the net for about 30 seconds later. And that isn't just a team apart, that's about that collective, Quinny, that we've got just now at Celtic Park, that Joe Hart has all those ball boys and balls get all those ball boys and balls girls Easier to say than, you know, after a day out. He has them all so well drilled, and it's just about that collective spirit that you can see at Celtic Park now that's so clear in the approach. That it's not just the team in the park that's playing their part; it's also all of those at the sides with the balls and the fans in the stands when, and I'm even doing some rhyming for you, which I think O'Reilly talks about at the end of the game. That the fans were electric, even in the warm up were electric, and how important they were for them. And that, to me, is going to be really important on Tuesday evening when we entertain Real Madrid. It needs to be a real collective spirit. It's not just 11 players in the team here and the substitutes that come on. It's absolutely everybody to try and get those big results and performances like we did yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. And it will be a full team effort, especially with the Starfelt's maybe shaking out, and also we mentioned Kyogo. So that these are the moments where that buy-in that we've been talking about, the manager's obviously laying this stuff out to them over the season, that you're all going to be influential, you're all going to get key minutes, you're all going to score big important goals, you're all going to be involved in amazing matches. And by injury, it can make some of these rotation decisions maybe easier because Kyogo's just probably not available, neither is Starfelt. So it's good that he's built the team up this way. It's been great transfer strategy from us. Like, I've seen some great tweets today. The Celtic 11 that didn't play yesterday, and it's kind of what we were saying last week. Like, that team, the Ross County team, might have been all right as well.
Guys like Aaron Moy, Ralston, Bernabe, Yates obviously didn't start the game. Giacomakis didn't start the game. You've still got Haksabanovic to come in. Abelgard, the strength and depth is phenomenal just now at Celtic. And I think that's a real key point, Quinny, that maybe when you do miss players, which I think Celtic's likely to do in Tuesday night now with those injuries sustained by Kyogo and Starfelt, that the players that you bring in will be ready because you have that collective thing that you're talking about there with the squad, that everybody knows that the chance will come and they're still all working to a level that they can come into the Celtic team and slot in absolutely perfectly.
Yeah. And I read a wee quote from Ancelotti today. He was saying that, I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but he was basically saying Celtic are intense and he's worried, is the kind of the punchline of it. So for that, kind of stereotype that we're making for ourselves to be lived on Tuesday, then it is going to be that whole team effort. And again, like the guys, when they go in today for recovery sessions, I'm sure there'll be, ear to ear grins, and they'll already be thinking into Tuesday and doing their best efforts for training. Well, I'm sure they'll do some sort of training session tomorrow or something, or before the match Tuesday. And, with, like we all know as fans, the Champions League and getting results at home, so much of it is to do with that intangible, like when we're confident going into matches and the stadium's right behind everything. And we've, any good result we've had in Europe has never really been a surprise, like on form, if you like. It's not like, oh, we've been absolutely terrible and we can't buy a win and then we play Barca and we beat them. We've always been on like a great kind of cascade of wins or form. And I'm starting to feel the electricity in the air's still coming around for it. So I think we might even have a wee surprise on Tuesday in terms of the bench. Maybe Haksabanovic, we might see him for 20, 30 minutes or something at the end, because, just depending on how the manager shapes up and how many subs he wants to make. So the full strength of the squad, we look at Tuesday. And then who do we have next week? Is it St Mirren or something?
It's Livingston at Celtic Park, I think.
Livingston. So it's going to be a great week to keep on this momentum from that kind of extended pre-season that we've had, and then it's this kind of watershed moment we've had with like Ross County and Rangers over the past couple of days, and now we're into the big leagues, I feel like, where it all counts for the players' with aspirations.
Yeah, and you've ticked every box in at that game because I think however good the form is going into any of these games, it was still a real tricky run of fixtures. That going back to even last week. Just looking at it from a domestic perspective, going to Tannadice, no matter how bad a form Dundee United were in, I know we drubbed them 9-0. I don't think anyone could have predicted that, but we didn't know what team we were going to face. Sometimes when a team's struggling, they want to show a big performance. I know they didn't. They obviously inevitably lost their manager afterwards, but still always tough to go to Tannadice. Dingwall away was always going to be tricky, even in the cup. With a Celtic team, you make 9 changes to. And then I think that's even something that we're not talking about. Majority of the team that scalped Rangers yesterday didn't play even on Wednesday night. So, even with that, you're making 9 changes. He's made, I don't know how many changes back into the team for yesterday, and it's just flawless that everybody plays their part, comes in, does their job, and it's just bring it on with Real Madrid, because these are the games that we want as fans to see Celtic play in, compete against, and it's going to be exciting.
That's going to be something else, man. I can't wait. And as far as the league goes as well, like, we're at that kind of stage now where all the journals are wanting to ask the players, what do you think about the league and all the rest of it as well? And the attitude from the wall is fantastic. It's a wee bit kind of the company, the usual stereotypical response from footballers, like, oh, it's one game at a time. But you actually genuinely get that feeling of them, that they're being sincere in their words, and it's not just the line they've been told to say by the manager or the press or whatever. And it is like one game at a time, be the best for the next game. That's the whole thing, and it's so exciting to watch and be a part of as a fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Ange Postecoglou is certainly bringing on back the good times to Celtic Park. Quinny, thanks as always for joining me. We will leave you today with a clip captured at Celtic Park yesterday of the Celtic fans serenading the Rangers players as they walk off the pitch. It's